Let's preview Week 14 with two-star pitchers and sleeper hitters up next on Fantasy Baseball Today Express. Welcome into FBT Express on Friday, June 20th. I am Frank Stampfl, joined by Scott White, and let's preview Week 14. The schedule, we have 24 teams with 6 games. We have 6 teams with 7 games. That includes the Braves, Cubs, Twins, Mets, Mariners, and Cardinals. What about the Rockies? They have 6 games next week. 3 in Coors Field are against the Dodgers. Starters sit these two-star pitchers. And first up, Scott, we have Bailey Ober, who is facing the Mariners and at the Tigers.
It's a no for me. He's been obviously pretty bad his last few starts. We know he has some mechanical issues going on. He's talked about that. The velocity's dropped in conjunction with that. I just think it's too risky until he turns things around.
Yeah, agreed completely. What about Taj Bradley, who is at the Royals and at the Orioles?
It's kind of the same thing for him. We don't have as clear of an explanation for Bradley's struggles. It may just be that, he had his struggles last year too. So it may just be that he's not all that good, at least not at this stage of his development. And I think it's too risky.
Severino is at the Tigers and at the Yankees.
Yeah, not with those matchups. Wouldn't do it.
And Ryan Yarbrough is at the Reds and home against the Athletics.
I don't trust Yarbrough much to begin with. Way he's pitched this year, I could see doing it with good matchups, but those aren't good enough.
All right, Scott, let's get into the two-star pitchers that you are looking to add and stream. The number one name, Shane Smith feels like he's been a two-star pitcher for the past 3 weeks. Will it happen?
I know. Yeah, I think a rain out pushed him back this time. It's just the way it goes, particularly during the dog days of the season. A lot of times pitchers get pushed back. Spot starts are made, etc. So hopefully Shane Smith actually makes the 2 starts. This is one of the dangers to relying on streamer pitchers. The matchups aren't even that good, Diamondbacks and Giants, but Smith has maintained an ERA below 3. The strikeouts have been trending up. There's a lot to like there, and I think among pitchers less than 80% rostered who are making, or at least in line for 2 stars, Shane Smith is the most interesting. Matthew Liberatore, it's kind of the same story for him. Matchups could be better. One is against the Cubs. The other's against the Guardians, which isn't so bad. But, just the fact he's in line for 2, I think makes him more streamable in most contexts than some of the 1-start options that we'll get into in a minute. Chad Patrick, I do love his matchups. Now, I don't think he's as good as Shane Smith and Matthew Liberatore, and his last couple starts, I think have been shown him coming back down to earth. He was overachieving early on. So he's not on a good trend right now, but Patrick is facing the Pirates and the Rockies in Milwaukee, not in Colorado. Got to love those matches for Patrick. Further down the list here, these 3 I would really only consider in points leagues, but Eduardo Rodriguez gets the White Sox and the Marlins. 2 great matchups. He's made 3 starts since coming back, his last 3 starts. Edward Rodriguez are not so bad. I think in a points league with these matchups, you could start him and hope he gives you something like 30 points in a best case scenario. Justin Verlander, kind of the same boat. He just returned from the IL. Wasn't a great start, but he has those exact same 2 matchups, just in the opposite order, Marlins and White Sox. Worth a try in a points league, I would say. And finally, Ben Brown. It's been inconsistent, but the strikeout numbers are pretty good. Matchups here are not the greatest, but not terrible. Cardinals and Astros. If you're looking for an extra start in a points league, Ben Brown is a possibility.
All right, let's take a quick break, and we'll be back right after this. Welcome back in FBT Express. 2-star pitchers are out of the way. Scott, what about some 1-start streamers for next week?
All right, so, you can decide for yourself whether you like the idea of Shane Smith and Matthew Liberatore with 2 starts, even though the matchups aren't the greatest, or, as I rank them here, No, I rank those two ahead. But if you like these one-start options more, you can decide for yourself. Hayden Birdsong gets the Marlins. He's looked pretty good since joining the rotation, apart from that one stalk where he walked a bunch of guys. Michael Wacha coming off a great start here on Thursday. He is against the Rays, which also isn't the greatest matchup. But the thing I like about it for Wacha is it's at home, where his numbers are a lot better on the road. He has a 2.58 ERA and 7.7 K per nine at home compared to 4.41, 5.5 on the road. Jose Soriano coming off two great starts. He gets the Nationals, which is a pretty good matchup. And finally, Will Warren. He's coming off an 11 strikeout effort. He does face the Athletics, which isn't the greatest matchup, but as you pointed out, Frank, he had a start that went 7 1/3 innings against the Athletics earlier this season. So that is working to Will Warren's benefit.
All right, let's slide over to the hitters. The best matchups for next week. We have the Mariners, D-backs, Giants, Brewers, and Angels. And the worst hitter matchups, Phillies, Astros, Pirates, Twins, and Athletics. Scott, who are your sleeper hitters for week 14?
All right, we're going to start with Addison Barger, who was also my top sleeper hitter for week 13. Not enough of you listened to me because his roster rate actually went down on CBS. And you know what? You missed out because he's had a great week so far. I also like Sal Frelick for this upcoming week. The Brewers, you mentioned, have the fourth best hitter matchups, but even more than that, I like that all of their games are at home. The reason I like that for Sal Frelick, he's hitting 350 with a 911 OPS at home. So that sounds pretty good. JP Crawford is another one I like here. And the splits for the Mariners work in his favor. First of all, that's the best hitter matchups of all, 7 games. 6 of the 7 are against righties. And believe it or not, JP Crawford has absolutely throttled righties this year. 328 batting average, 874 OPS. Joe Adell, of course, has been hot for the Angels. And they have the 5th best hitter matchups. And he still has a ways to go to meet his expected stats. Still falling short of that even for as hot as he's been lately. So I think there's more ground to make up. Lourdes Gurriel has been on this 3 weeks in a row because the Diamondbacks keep having good matchups. And, maybe he should be rostered beyond the point where he qualifies for this list. He's a pretty reliable hitter. So Lourdes Gurriel with the Diamondbacks having the 2nd best matchups. Worth a try. Michael Toglia has come back from the minors, 3 home runs right away. So he seems to have that power stroke working like we saw in the second half last year. Only half the week for the Rockies is at Coors Field, but no, those 3 home runs were on the road. And I think the majority of his home runs last year were on the road as well. Alec Burleson, also a hot hand. He's got that batting average up over 300. The Cardinals are one of just 6 teams playing 7 games. And the matchups are pretty favorable there. Javier Baez is in on a nice run. Turn things around. The Tigers are facing the Athletics and Twins pitching staffs in their 6 games. So those are favorable for him. Luis Garcia not a single lefty on the schedule for the Nationals. So you can trust him to play and hit his best against those right-handers. And Mike Yastrzemski. Why so formal? Mike Yastrzemski. You mentioned the Giants have the 3rd best matchups. All right-handers for them too, which Yastrzemski, left-handed hitter, he tends to do his best work against righties.
All right. For more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, listen to our full-length podcast, Fantasy Baseball Today, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else podcasts are found. Thanks for listening to Fantasy Baseball Today Express, and we will be back again next week. Bye-bye.